Lesson 2.1.2 Making sense of different representations of a linear function. In this video, we will write linear functions in factored form. Vocabulary. So our first vocabulary word is polynomial. Polynomial is a mathematical expression involving the sum of powers in one or more variable multiplied by coefficients. Next vocabulary word, degree. The degree of a polynomial is the greatest variable exponent in the expression. Leading coefficient. The leading coefficient of a polynomial is the numerical coefficient of the term with the greatest power. So an example of all this is this here. So we have f of x equals 12x squared minus 5x plus 4x cubed. So the degree is always the highest exponent. So we have a 2, we have a 1, and we have a 3. Since 3 is larger than the other two exponents, our degree is 3. So the leading coefficient is always found with the term that has the highest degree. So since x cubed is the highest degree, then our leading coefficient is 4, which is in front of the x cubed. And our last vocabulary word is the zero of a function. So a zero of a function is a real number that makes the value of the function equal to 0, or f of x is equal to 0. So here's an example. We have f of x is equal to 2 parentheses x plus 1. So we're going to set the stuff inside the parentheses equal to 0. And then we solve it. And the result that we get is the zero of the function. Okay, so let's look at our functions a little more carefully. Polynomial functions. So a polynomial function with a degree of 0, like p of x is equal to 7, is considered a constant function. When the degree is 1, you have something like p of x is equal to 2x minus 5. Okay, and again the exponent here is a 1, and that's why its degree is 1. And we call those linear functions. We've worked with those already. And then a polynomial that has a degree of 2 is considered a quadratic function, which we worked with in the very first topic. And an example of this would be p of x is equal to 3x squared minus 2x plus 4. And then a cubic function, which we haven't talked about and we really won't see much this year, has a degree 3. And it looks something like p of x equals 4x cubed minus 2. And those are cubic functions. So we are working more on linear functions. So different forms of linear functions. We have slope-intercept form, okay, which you've worked with before. That's the whole y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Then we have the general form, which is f of x equals ax plus b. That's what we were doing in the last section 1.3 when we were finding the linear regression. Okay, we used the general form. And in this form, the characteristics are that a and b are real numbers and a cannot equal 0. Because if a is 0, then we have our constant function here. So a can't be 0. And then a is the leading coefficient and b describes the y-intercept. And the one that we haven't seen yet, this is the one we're going to learn about today, is factored form. And factored form looks something like this. Okay, f of x equals a parentheses x minus c, where a and c are real numbers and a cannot equal 0. And then x minus c, when equal to 0, is used to find the x-intercept. Okay, so factored form lets us find the x-intercept, and the other two forms, the general and the slope intercept form, both let us find the y-intercept. Write each linear function in factored form. 1. F of x equals 3x minus 5. So in order to put it in factored form, we're going to pull out the 3 that's in front of the x, and then we're going to divide each of these terms by 3. So 3x divided by 3 is just x, and negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. That's all we do. That's factored form, and number 1 is done. So here you're going to pause it, or I'm going to pause it, and you're going to try number 2. So hopefully you factored out negative 4, and you divided each thing by negative 4. So negative 4 divided by negative 4 is cancel, and we're left with x. Positive 32 divided by negative 4 gives me negative 8. And with that, that's how you write a linear function in factored form.